Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We made it to another Sunday. That means tomorrow is Monday and we get to start a whole new week over. All right, I'm gonna let some people join us. I'm gonna wait just a few seconds before we get started. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna wait on a few people to come. All right. Happy Sunday, guys. Happy Sunday. Okay, let's jump right into it. Thanks for tuning in to Solution Sundays. I'm Clinisha, artist, owner of Bliss Financial Solutions, where we specialize in credit repair and business consulting. Okay, each and every Sunday we'll be here to discuss your credit tips and business hacks. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, can you buy a house with a bankruptcy? The answer is yes. However, they want you to be 18 to 24 months discharged before you make a purchase or just remove it. So if you are having issues with removing your bankruptcy, we can help you with that. Please give us a call, DM us, join our website, schedule a consultation. Those are on my website as well. Those are also in my bio. So yes, you can buy a house if you have a bankruptcy. Bankruptcies are just public records. So, you know, those things can be removed. However, there are proper steps you want to take before even thinking about filing a bankruptcy. Just know that there are some pros and cons to bankruptcies, but you need to make that decision based on your preferences. So, you know, can't nobody really tell you how to go about a bankruptcy, but I would suggest just going through credit repair, either doing it yourself or hiring somebody to do it for you. So I always say bankruptcy should be your last choice, like your last option. So yes, you can still buy a house, but you want it to be discharged between 18 to 24 months. Okay, a discharge just basically means that you no longer owe the debt, right? So yeah. Bankruptcies can resurface once they are removed. So just like child support, like once it's removed from your credit report, it still can come back because it's government. It's through the government, so it can come back. So just because it's removed now, sometimes these accounts can come back. Just depending on, they have to make sure that it's in writing before placing that back on their credit report. Okay. And you can work on the removal of your bankruptcy the day it's discharged, the day it's on your credit, the day after, like immediately right after. So if you guys need any help with that, please reach out to me and we'll be happy to help you. Okay, so we want to talk about your ranges of credit cards, right? So we always want to start, you know, there is a journey, right? So you have to start small to get to the big hitters, right? So we want to start off with our secured, goes to your unsecured, which goes to your subprime, and then we have prime. So primes is those big dogs, you know, those Amex, that's Discover, your Chase, your Bank of America, things like that. So we want to be mindful that it's a process, right? So it's a journey. You have to start somewhere. If you have to start with a $250 deposit, you have to start somewhere. You know, building credit is not always a quick process, right? So yes, there are trade lines where you can purchase. However, be mindful of that. Sometimes when you do purchase those trade lines start from either that day that you purchase that trade line, or however it stops after a specific amount, after you've established some credit. So let's say you jumped on someone's credit card and some companies are actually getting a little advance. So let's say you jumped on someone's credit card today as an authorized user. So sometimes these creditors say, okay, it starts from the day of you started on moving forward to have that positive credit. Some of these accounts are saying like, no, you're not getting the 12 years beforehand. They're getting it when it start on. So moving forward in 30 days, and if they still have that same great credit history, then it starts then. So be mindful of that. So sometimes you just might get that boost of your credit score, and then it just remains there. So not all the time when you do get those trade lines that they're jumping and jumping and jumping. We might have just like a small little boost of that credit report. That credit score. So be mindful of those. So and also if you can well, just because you do have those options of getting those credit cards, be mindful that, okay, yeah, if I get a $5,000 limit, don't use that $5,000 limit, right? Unless you're paying it back within that month. And depending on your financial situation, that's between you and your financial situations for you to determine if you can max that card out, but making sure you're paying it off before that due date. Okay, making sure that statement is paid before that statement date, making sure we're at under 10%. We're not saying 30% anymore. We're not saying 20% anymore. That's mediocre. Like, we want those scores to be maintained at great credit, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping it below 10. Like, I always tell my clients 1 and 3%. Okay, that's great credit. You can't go wrong with the 1 and 3%. However, if it's not feasible for you, just keep it under 10% or 20%. 30% is really more mediocre, and it's still up there, still kind of high. So making sure you're getting cards that has cashback rewards, flight rewards, gas rewards, any type of reward. You want to make sure you're getting some type of cashback rewards for your purchases. And using your credit card over your debit card is always a plus, right? So when we're using those credit cards for our bills or whatever, you're using your credit card and you're paying it right back. So it's not like you're double paying, right? So you're using your card and then you're paying it back within that month. So you're really just basically recycling your money, and it's working for you versus you just using your debit card, not getting cashback rewards, not getting any money back, not getting flight rewards, things like that, gas rewards. Like, it's always a plus having some type of rewards for your money. Okay. Yeah. So like we talked about, making sure your balances are under one and 3%. Okay. So keep in mind, we got to keep those credit cards down. Okay. Unless we're gonna use it all and paying it right back, be mindful of those things, because sometimes we see those credit limits and be like, oh, we got $5,000 in the credit limit and I'm gonna use it. But then what happens next month when you used it all, and now you have a balance and you're accruing interest on that credit card. So now it's like, oh man, so I can't use my credit card, and I gotta go back to using my debit card because my balances are high, and I don't want to keep making that balance higher. So now you're going back to using your debit card, which you're not getting rewards anymore. Now you're using your debit card. Now you gotta use your credit. Now you have to use your debit card and then still pay back your credit card. So now you're having like a double whammy right now. So be mindful of when you are using your credit cards. Okay. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Be mindful too that credit cards can close. They can close for inactivity. So some accounts close between 3 to 6 months if you don't have any inactivity. So if you don't want to really use your credit cards, put a subscription on there. Put your Netflix accounts, things like that. However, you cannot pay credit with credit. So you can't pay your credit card off with another credit card, okay? Can't do that. So I don't know how some people are saying that that's possible, but maybe I'm just not with it. But we don't pay credit with credit. We use our credit cards to pay off our bills, and then recycle our money to get cash backs for purchases, payments, things like that. So be mindful of that. So we all knew about the student debt relief credit that was just around for the 10 and 12,000. So that has been placed on a pause until further notice. So Joe Biden has been sued for by 6 states because of the revenue that they didn't receive. So pretty much the portal is still open, but however, you can't get that temporary relief right now because they are pausing it right now and until further notice. that is being paused, so you cannot receive that credit. So yeah, so you should have jumped on that fast in a hurry when they was giving those tax credits. I mean, that student loan credit. However, looking on your credit report as for your student loans, um, making sure that they are listed as educational on the account type. So it cannot be a loan or secured loan or something of that nature. Like, it should be saying educational as far as the account type. So when you look on your credit report, making sure that your student loans are being listed as educational as your account types. Okay, and if you are in deferment, making sure that those payments are being listed as current. Okay, just because they're in deferment doesn't mean that they're late. They have a deferment, which means that they should be reporting as current or NA. So sometimes some is not being reported as enough information. But however, you need to make sure that when you are in deferment of your student loans, it is being listed as current and not late, because that can mess up your debt to income ratio, and you need to make sure that it's not being listed as other accounts, right? So that then it'll play parts in your different categories. So that'll make your debt to income ratio higher when it comes to your different types of loans. So like, you have to have a mortgage loan, you have to have a revolving loan, you have to have a short-term loan, long-term loan, things like that. So let's make sure that our accounts are being listed in the correct type, as the correct types, okay? So collection should be listed as collections. Charge-off should be listed in only charge-offs, and charge-offs should not have a past due amount listed, okay? So, and we have double jeopardy. We need to make sure that those things are not playing a part in our credit scores. That's why we could be getting denied. If your student loan is being listed as something that's not your student loan, then it can hurt your credit because it's listed as a common loan. So that'll hurt your debt to income ratio, which will later on get you denied for certain loans. So let's make sure that each account is being listed in the correct account, and they're not being open when they should be closed. So that means, again, your debt to income ratio will be higher. So we need to make sure every account is correct, every account is listed in the right terms, making sure that your payments are listed correctly. And if you are having problems with late payments and you don't want it to get past 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, you want us to call and say, hey, I'm having a problem. Can I push back or pay half of a portion now, pay half of it later? Like, we don't want to get into those 30 days late, because then we have to talk about goodwill letters, we have to talk about paper deletes, things like that. So that's not here or there. So let's make sure that those accounts are listed correctly, okay? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? I know I said a lot. We want to make sure those accounts are being listed correctly. We talk about not having them open, making sure that they don't have a past due amount unless they are current or open, okay? So goodwills are, let's say you have an account, let's say your credit card has a 30 days late payment, right? And that can hinder your credit score. So we can call the creditors and we can call Capital One and say, hey, I want to, I had a problem with paying my last month's statement on time. I totally forgot I was out of town, or I had a medical emergency, things like that. Like, we need to, use our options. So I'm going to call Capital One and say, hey, I couldn't make the payment because such and such and such and such. So is there a way that I can send you a letter a goodwill letter saying, hey, if I've been making all these other payments and I have one late payment or two late payments, is there a way that we can write these off just as a one-time courtesy? And they may say, oh yeah, you've been with us for 20 plus years. Why not? We can do that, but it's got to be a one-time courtesy. So we want to make sure that we do have those options. However, before we go into settlements and things like that. So before we get to those settlement amounts, and we want to call and see what our options are. Hey, can we, write this off, or can we take this away because I had an accident or I completely forgot? Like, let's call our creditors and see, what our options are. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Sunday. Hey guys. So, paper deletes. Paper deletes is when you have a collection account of that nature, and you want to say, hey, if I settle this amount for this amount of money, can you erase it off my credit? Because once you pay that collection, it is not affecting your credit. It's not going to help it. So once you pay it off, it's just basically resetting that statute of limitations. So what that means is I paid a collection account. I paid a medical bill, which we shouldn't. But once we pay those medical bills, they won't help our credit. It'll just be listed as it was past due, now it's paid, and that's it. It doesn't help your credit. So you want to say, hey, if I pay this off, can you remove it off my credit? Pay per delete, right? So, but those are worst case scenarios. You always want to dispute before, right? So making sure that you are disputing inaccurate information off your credit report first before we go into paper deletes or goodwill letters. Let's making sure we call them and say, hey, this is what happened. Is there anything you guys can do for me? And most of the time they will. If you've had good credit with them or a good history with them, they'll be happy to help you. Okay. Any questions? Guys? Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Any questions? Okay, so a business tip for you guys. So, do we know the difference between a client and a customer? Do we know any differences? I'm gonna let somebody answer real quick. The differences between a client and a customer. Okay, so I'm gonna share it for you. A client is someone who could be ongoing, right? A customer means you just purchase something on my site and you're gonna watch our business, right? So we need to make sure as business owners that we make sure that we know the difference between a client and a customer. With that being said, not everyone will be your client, not everyone will be your customer. So we need to make sure we have those understandings when it comes to those different types, okay? Because your client could be ongoing. They can stay with your company for a while. They can purchase credit monitoring, credit cards. They can purchase do-it-yourself books. They can purchase credit consulting, business consulting. They can pair up with you. They can be something where you have an ongoing relationship with them. So that'll be considered as your client. So your customer could be, you come to my food truck and you purchase something and then they go about their business. So we need to be mindful of those clients. We want to make sure that we are keeping those. We're turning those customers into clients, right? So when it comes to business, we need to make sure that we are turning our customers into clients, okay? Any questions, guys? Any questions? Thanks for tuning in. That was our business tip of the day. Any questions? All right, guys, that is all I have for today. So we will be here next Sunday. This is our 7th video, right? We have been on this journey for 7 whole Sundays. Okay, guys, so if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Feel free to DM me. Feel free to check out my website. We have some business information on there. Check out our link tree. If you want to have a business consulting or a credit consulting, please be free. Be sure to jump on my schedule and we'll talk about it. Some of us may not need a credit repair journey. They probably just need some tips and hacks and then they'll be on their way. Some of us have great credit before, and they don't even know it. They just have to have a few tweaks and to have their credit jump, and then they're on their way. Okay, so if you guys want to chat with me, you can call me at 800-784-1334. Go to blissfinancialsolutions.com, check out my website, and on there you'll find some business tips. You will on there. You will find some credit starter cards. If you guys want to inbox me or contact me at all, feel free to do that as well. But I'm gonna head up out of here. So if you guys have any questions about this live, previous lives, any lives, feel free to comment on those lives or comment on my page, or go to Bliss Financial Solutions page, Instagram, or our Facebook, and we'll be here next Sunday. So see you guys next Sunday. See you guys. Bye.